what's happening, man. I don't know what that was. There's a few things I'm probably gonna end up kind of touching on. Gonna be probably pretty random. I've been going back over the Book of Enoch, man. It makes me really question like the level to which people interpret biblical text as literal, because I think a lot of people claim that they're like balanced and they're viewing it equally as like, you know, allegory and literal, like they're using discernment and shit, but I think like most of it is allegory or just like misinterpretation of the text itself. Like Enoch being taken to heaven in a chariot of fire, that's very obviously not a fucking chariot of fire. It's a ship. It's a ship. Like I think the biblical shit seems like Star Wars kinda. if you really pay attention to some of the ways that some of this shit's written, like it is kinda Star Warsy. Not the story itself, just like, you know, there's technologies and stuff that's mentioned in there, and just because of the way that it's described, everybody adds this like mysticism to it, but it's like, no, that's just how they talked. That's how they talked. It's how they spoke. They didn't know what spaceships were. They didn't know what, you know, ships were in general. And, you know, it's not even necessarily a spaceship, just a form of travel, you know? When the fallen ones are placed in a punishment area, it's just some mountains. Like, there's a lot of like very very intense belief in things and no reading. Like not many are. It's either no reading or too much reading. Like some of the beings whose stuff I've been studying, they read this shit too much. They need to take like a step or two back, in my opinion, because it's like they're not even really interpreting it anymore. They're just like trying to get more podcast fuel, you know. And that's not even in a dogmatic way. I'm not saying like you need to get the text so you can be right with God. I'm saying like, what exactly? Whatever, dude. Enoch. There's so much talk of the Book of Enoch. That's a pretty horrifying account. Even the Enoch part. I'm not even talking about the Watchers. Like, listening to what God, Yaldabaoth, I'm not going to do all his names again, did for Enoch. You know, he turned him into what sounds like a ship, or like a planet ship, like Nibiru, or like Earth. And you know, that's if you take it pretty literally. He says his crown was like 65 feet long. So he's either just like a giant, or it sounds like he is a giant and or a planet. Which would kind of check out, because it also says in the biblical text that the angels are stars, the angels are stars. And if you look at a star up close with like a good camera or a telescope, the wheel within the wheel, it kind of does look like something looking at you. But there's also the water aspect. It looks like water. There's so much like weird disassociative delusion. I think people are really freaked out. It's like generational freak out, you know. And within that, they teach it to their kids, like, this is what all of this, doctrine means. And they don't actually take the time to be like, hey, but this burning bush, were these niggas tripping on mushrooms, maybe? Just very recently, beings have started doing that. And I don't know, there's so many layers to it, because even with that, the biblical text has been shredded. Just kind of shredded. Yeah, Enoch was not terrifying. Enoch was not a good being. That's why, God, Yaldi Baldi, gave him domain, gave him the keys, literally, gave him the keys. Because he was not a good dude. He was not a good... Everybody's like paying so much attention to Enoch and his stories, which I get. I do get that. It's extra text. You need to get as much text as possible. But, like, Enoch was not a good dude, for one. And then also, if we really want to know what's fucking cracking, let's go see what's up with the Vatican. They got it. They fucking know, dude. They got the stuff. They got the stuff in there. You know what I mean? They got text, miles of text. You hear that? They have miles of text. They have artifacts down there, technologies and shit. Apparently they have, like, jail cells. So they have, like, beings down there. Non-human biologics, as what's his name would call it. What's his name? I forgot his name. The useful idiot, as they called him. That must not feel good to be called that. The alien whistleblower guy. He does kind of seem like a useful idiot. He seems like he feels very important saying the things he's saying, and he has no idea if any of it's true. And he says that. He's like, I haven't seen any of this stuff. But when he answers the questions, he's like, oh, well, is a very good representation of what most do most of the time. Very disturbing shit. I think I talk about this so much because I don't really see that many people that are like, yeah, man, me too. And that's disturbing too. Like, it makes me feel weird. I feel weird walking around in public because I feel like everyone's fucking psychos. You know? And I know when I talk, that's what is projected onto me, but I'm just questioning stuff. And I think that makes me, like, not psychotic. You know? Like, if you buy a house outright, you pay it off, I think it's weird that you have to keep paying the government for that. I also think it's weird that you don't own the first, like, 2-3 feet of land next to the sidewalk. You don't own that at all. The government still owns that. You also don't own your land. You know? You've built a house on government land. And you really don't own your house either. Like, these are things that I feel like are important. And it's strange, the looks that I get back when I talk about this stuff. Anyway, I'm not ready for the Enoch talk. I shouldn't have gone into that. I'm studying that right now for a talk in the near future. Enoch. Phoenicians. Weird stuff. Very weird stuff. I really do want to fucking sack the Vatican, though, for real. They got the stuff. They tell you they got the stuff through movies. I also very much. I think the cells that they have, like the jail, I guess, or prison, whatever it is they have down below. Is that like a cabin in the woods type situation? You know? If you've seen that movie Cabin in the Woods where they have all those SCP like monster shits in different cells, that's got to be real, right? So what better place than the Vatican to do that? To experiment on all that shit. That seems like a cool short story to write. I'm gonna do that probably. Probably not. It's gonna take me forever even to get this book going. These rewrites that I don't want to do at all. It doesn't seem like that much, but fucking 5 chapters getting stolen really fucks shit up. Because I already had rewrites that I have to do based on the other thing, the theft of a concept out of the book. Namely, the name of a drug. I named a drug something, and it was borrowed indefinitely and put in a movie or a TV show or some shit. So anyway, I wanted to talk about Solar Warden. Solar Warden. This is probably not going to do anything to boost my budding popularity. There are a lot of beings right now that are really into this Solar Warden shit. The Solar Warden universe. Some of them don't even know that that's what they're referencing, which I think is kind of funny. But there's, and I'm not saying that all the beings that are attached to this shit are fake. I'm not even saying whether the shit's real or not. It's just so many are operating their lives as if they know it to be true. And I feel like that's very strange to do. Actually, it's not. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't stop telling other people to do it. You know? Like, I keep talking to people and just out of direct, I don't want to call it habit, but out of, I don't know, do those that teach them train them to do this? But they very much want you to believe that they believe. It's very kind of Abrahamic of them. So Solar Warden is Solar Warden is a concept that comes from, I believe, not the first story of it, but the one that everyone's kind of familiar with. A dude hacked into government mainframes, looking for specific information. He was looking for proof of UFOs and that the government knows about UFOs. And this is a long time ago. And the story goes that he found some shit, and the stuff he found was very, intense. And there's actually a Y-Files episode on it. I'm not going to go into all the details for the sake of time, but if you're interested in knowing the background of Solar Warden and what I'm going to be referencing, go watch. It's a very short episode of the Y-Files. You should be subbed to that anyway. Such a good fucking show. I watch every episode even if I don't think I'm going to be interested in the topic. I haven't seen one that wasn't well done. Even if I wasn't really that attached to the topic, I still enjoyed it, Good work. But Solar Warden is being referenced by many, many influencers and so-called light workers, so-called super soldiers. There's more than one of those, which I find interesting. Past life regressionists, near-death experiencers. Like, it's pretty much everything, which points to a couple things, potentially, in my opinion. What's up, Void? And, you know, I always try to look at things as theories. I don't... I'm not going to assert that any of these things are... which one is the truth or which one is the answer. But it's not great, no matter what you look at. I mean, obviously, it could be true. The whole solar warden thing could be true. But, you know, I like to go off of context. And so the reason that I don't really believe that story as it is perpetuated is the very obvious firmament that is above us. Eh? You know? The very obvious firmament that Elon Musk can't get through and Hillary Clinton desperately wants to escape through. That thing, you know? Not to say that doesn't mean, like, you know, they always have answers. There's white hats and there's grids and gridlocks to keep pedophile blood drinkers in and stuff like that. And here's the thing. I not just believe, I know that there are many that drink blood, they, you know, take kids, they do all the things. But when you take that and then you fucking shoot it through the sky into some solar warden shit, it just kind of like, it's conflating two very separate things, in my opinion. And, you know, there's other stuff kind of wrapped into it, too. I'm not really sure how things like, you know, projected consciousness got mixed into that whole solar warden thing, but anybody that references the solar warden, like, kind of doctrine, they believe in projected consciousness, which basically is saying, like, you're causing your own experience. The variations are you signed up for it before you came here, or you're projecting it from your subconscious, which you know, if you haven't seen me talk before, I reject both of those vehemently. It's dumb. That's asinine. I can see where some would say that based on their own experience, but all you got to do is take one extra step outside of your own shoes, which is very important to do. I won't call people that don't do that narcissists, but it is very weird to not exercise any kind of, like, you know, empathetic thought. Even not empathy, but empathetic thought. Like, put yourself in other shoes so that you can really understand your surroundings. Very important. Once you do that, you can see many different types of experiences where the first thing you might ask yourself is, why the fuck would anyone choose that? What are you learning from that? Why would you choose to put yourself through that? Like, that doesn't hold up once you take an extra second to think about it. It sounds very romantic. I get it. I get the reasoning for wanting that to maybe be true, but at the same time I don't, because everyone goes through shit. And I know for me personally, being told, oh, well, you did that to yourself, I don't like that. I don't like that shit at all. So, you know, rejected. But there's certain very prolific and prevalent, you know, kind of characters that are involved in all that stuff. Maybe, and in some ways, it's kind of like more on a orbital capacity, like Bashar. Someone sent me Bashar earlier. I kind of like that dude. He doesn't lay it on as thick as some of the others do. I don't know if he's actually channeling or not. What I will say is if there was someone that was channeling, I would envision it being more like that than what I see some others doing, because there are others that are like, I don't know, it's laid on extra thick. They do that light language, like talking in tongues thing. that instantly pulls me away. Like, that. It's just things like that. I would like to see two light language users speak and like have their conversation analyzed, you know? And I'm not trying to ruin it. By me doing that, I'm not trying to ruin things for people. I just want it to be real. You get that? Like, I'm not doing these things or saying these things because I'm trying to like spoil the parade. I really want it to be real. I would be very, very happy if it's like, oh, they're actually talking to each other. There is a language being spoken here. That'd be the shit, especially if they didn't know each other. If it could be proven that they didn't know each other, they just met, that day, and they just started speaking like language at each other, doing the speaking in tongues, and they were actually sharing information, I'd be fucking hype over that. I just don't think that's gonna happen. And I'm not happy over that. What I am is concerned that so many beings are doing that. Because that's off. To fake a whole language, to fake a whole language just in general is weird, but it takes it to a whole new level when you're like accepting people's money. That's very slimy and shitty, because most of those beings, not only are they listening to you because they need hope, they want to feel like their future is going to be better. They want, they have a painful need for meaning out of this, because they've, in many cases, realized that religion is faulty. Religion has been keeping them in very negative places. And so now they feel lost. They would like some kind of answers. They would like something to make them feel better about their future. And you're speaking fucking light language to them and reminding them of your Cash App every 5 minutes. It's just shitty. It feels gross, And those are the ones that I'm kind of talking about, more so than many. It's those like kind of light worker, channeler, healer types, influencer beings that like very heavily reference, the lore, but sometimes it doesn't seem like they really know where that comes from. And then some of them, they do know where it comes from, and it seems very like it's hard to tell what's going on with them. It's always difficult for me to lend my full belief to them, because they start talking about things where it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. You say that you were taken as a child, you were age progressed and trained at a very fast capacity. Then you did missions and basically worked as like a mercenary for the Galactic Federation. And either, I think it was said that they get age regressed every time they come back, or at the end, so they get regressed back to. So basically what they're saying is they lived an entire life and then they were brought back to the exact moment where they were first taken. And that sounds cool. That's like a cool concept. I'm not going to say it sounds cool for that to happen, but that's a very imaginative and cool concept. But a dude is claiming that he wrote that. A dude is claiming that as his intellectual property. The guy that came up with that story, the whole, white hats and galactic federations and I'm a super soldier, like, he's trying to sue the other ones for using his intellectual property. It's not going to work, but just the fact that he has grounds for that, to even acknowledge it in a civil suit, is interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me, because many, it seems like and obviously this is going off of like little stuff out in public and social media and shit, but it seems very much like many people are kind of tapping into that. Random people will start talking to me about generational curses, and just like it seems very agency, it seems very intelligence op, you know, ish, very intelligence op ish. And I mean, what the fuck am I gonna do about it? But this is just how my brain works. I want to know why a thing is a thing. I want to know how it's that thing. And this is one of those, how did this happen? How did this become so prevalent so quickly? And what is up with beings just wholeheartedly believing in shit without reading anything? What the fuck is that? Why is that like not weird? Internally, if the implications of it are your life, your eternity, potentially, depending on what you're around, then why would you not put any stock in that? You're not gonna read any of it. You're just gonna listen to this fucking dude, you know? The dude that has dead eyes in a pyramid house from your own money. Fuck that, dude. That's not a good way to go about this. And it's not just the kind of blind faith. It's like pretty quick to extremism, because when I talk like this, you don't see it. Sometimes I show it, but like they get pissed. They get very fucking mad, and it's not the one that's doing the teaching. It's not the like cult leader. It's the followers. They come after you like, how dare you talk about him this way, and this and this and this, and it's like, bruh, if I'm wrong, then prove me wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. I want this shit to be real, Some of the stuff they talk about is not cool or important to me at all, but for a lot of it, it's like, yeah, I want that to be real. Fucking, I'm not trying to talk shit, but I'm not doing that for anybody. Like, that's like that thing where you're hanging out with some kids when you're younger, and one kid just says this whole story that's very intricate and nuts almost, and then they try to they say, oh, Gamma was there, and then they look over at you, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna go along with you on that. That sounds fucking dumb. That sounds crazy. Why would I do that? It seems a lot like that. Like, many times they'll kind of look over at you and say, oh, well, you remember I told you in the astrals last night. Very strange behavior where, and I don't see enough beings going like, no, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Usually they're just like, yeah, I remember that. And it's, I don't know, I think it's contributing to something that's really going to affect, the near future. I don't understand what happened to the concept of like maybe hearing something out, but then being like, where's the proof of that? Because there's a healthy majority of people are kind of like waiting on these aliens and talking about aliens in Miami, and any story that comes out, they're just like, yep, I knew it. And that seems very, very unhealthy, and it makes me feel dumb, because when I found out about, I won't say when they started talking about, when I found out about Blue Beam, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. Instantly, that's what I said to myself. There's no way this is going to work. People are too fucking they're not idiots, And I'm not going to call everybody idiots, but at the same time, it really, I was very wrong. Because as things are right now, everyone's so desperate to get something on film. For one, everybody wants to be a fucking influencer, but for two, it's instant acceptance of these stories. you know, without any kind of, uh, like supplemental, supplemental information. And they'll talk about it. They'll spread it to others as like fact. These are the things that I worry about, because these are the others that are going to be running around when shit cracks off with their fucking hair tied up like a G. Um, I I was talking to one of you, and I don't know if it was just like the way that it was perceived by that being specifically, but they were like, it doesn't seem like you really believe in anything you can't see or touch. And to be clear, that's not what it is, at all. I just very much don't want to fall for any kind of okey doke, you know, that has been apparently done multiple times to us as a familial unit. And I think at the very most, if one of us can avoid, you know, just falling into things, I think that is a step in the right direction. It doesn't mean that you don't believe in anything at all. It just means like critical thinking, like context. Do I believe in, NASA's shit? No, I don't believe in NASA. There's too much. There's too much evidence of them faking stuff, on many different levels. You know, many different levels. So no, I don't believe in that. Do I believe in aliens? I don't know. Do I believe in space travel? I don't know. I don't even know if I believe in space. All I can do is look up, and I see a blue, grid that is keeping anything from leaving and doing a pretty decent light show. You know? I I hear some of the stuff that gets said by like channelers, and I think one of the bigger things that really bothers me within those situations, the channelers and influencers and all that stuff, they, whether they know it or not, and I think more times than not they do know it, they're using manipulative like kind of tactics to get you to believe the thing that they're saying. And so like galactic federations and white hats and all these things, people have started talking about them like they're legend, like they know that they're real and they're true and they've seen them before. And my uncle's a white hat, some shit, but they don't actually know any of that. And then to make it that much worse, you got some of these very public, beings perpetuating it, kind of like the 45th wearing a white hat everywhere he goes for the last couple days or weeks or whatever. One could say, oh, well, what is that? Isn't that proof? No, that's not proof. If anything, it's just proof that he knows that is you know, a big market, and that it's very, very like effective. Those that are tired of the things that are going on now are gonna look for beings to like help them. I don't know, man. I don't know. Just that I'm not hoping that those things are not true. I'm not against them being true or anything like that, but I don't want to devote the entirety of my belief to the fiction created by someone's ego, or the lack of intelligence to care and read the things that are being perpetuated. I don't know. Man, very sudden change in topic, mostly because I'm feeling some of the symptoms, I don't know, of it right now. Every time it rains, my skin, or not just rains, if there's precipitation, my skin feels like it's coming into contact with something that I am having an allergic reaction to. And if you think about it, it is, just kind of unequivocally. It's not just me either. Like, I think there are lots of beings whose bodies kind of like don't respond to stimuli very much. And when that's the case, I think that's kind of dangerous. I used to look at my stuff as being downsides, like something to be kind of embarrassed over or, annoyed by. But the more I think about it, if stuff was being done to me, what's up, commercial? If stuff was being done to me and my body didn't warn me at all, that kind of seems worse, you know? Like, if my skin didn't change at all, but I was getting like acid rain dumped on me, that seems like a problem more so than like helping. But yeah, every time there's precipitation, and it's not only the skin stuff. My skin feels weird, like it's coming into contact with something not good, or allergy based, and then I get like weird flu symptoms. I get very very weird like flu symptoms, and this isn't just going off on one or two times. It's been like the last 5-6 times, and my kid too. He gets a little under the weather as well, and I'm just kind of wondering like what's going on with this? Is this is it the chemicals getting ramped up there, or what's causing that? It really has been going on for long enough now to where I would have thought that there were many more many more that were like at least even considering it, but it doesn't seem like that. And I mean, that's the part of that's my perception, because there are beings that are going to like hearings and testifying before judicial shit, saying like, "Hey, you're poisoning everybody," and 2 states have outlawed it, which is kind of what I've been using lately when someone says, "Oh, that's not real." I'm like, "Well, what the fuck is this then? Why would they outlaw something that's not real?" Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is concerning though. I know the different things that can cause the sensations that I'm feeling, and they're not good things. They're not good things, and I don't believe in I don't believe in coincidence, and I also don't think that would be considered synchronicity. I think it would just be like, oh, well, that's shitty or not good. I don't know. I mean, I would consider saying something in front of a Congress or some shit, but mostly if it were filmed, because I'd be just trying to get it out to the regular people's beings. Yeah, I don't know. I said I was gonna talk about family stuff. Namely, I mentioned my dad in yesterday's show. And was like, oh, I'm gonna talk about that, but I have to take an extra minute to consider what is and what isn't, what I bring up and what I don't. So I didn't talk about that. Just kind of talked about some things that I noticed today during my studies. Not really sure I have much more than that. If something happens to pop into my head, I think I may come back. But whenever that precipitation, it was freezing here, and then now it's like it's almost 70 degrees, and it's just fogged. It's fog everywhere. And if you know some of the things that I talk about, I'm not really happy about the fog. You know, there's it's not a good thing. And I'm not just using that as like is what I mean. It's like, I don't know, just not. I could try to say that it's something else, or you know, it's a coincidence. I really don't believe in coincidences, though. But even removing the whole like concept of you know, the metaphysical stuff behind it, potentially, or like not really metaphysical stuff, but like conspiracy stuff behind it. The fact still remains that there are things being sprayed, and they have found to be comprised of like heavy metals and all kinds of shit. Like those, even just that is very practical, but that can fuck your skin up. It can fuck your skin up, and then you start adding the other things that have been not just hypothesized. Well, so many of us hypothesized them at first, but now they're being like just talked about. Like, oh, well, this is what we're working on. We hope to get it out soon. They're talking about like anthrobotics. Is that what they called it? Can't remember. Anthrobots. I really do think it was anthrobots, which is just nanobots rebranded. And hyper. I've talked about this before. Hyper embryos. Like all this stuff. They'll say stuff publicly, and then when some of us hear it and then say it, then we get called crazy, which is very kind of poetic and dumb, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna think on some of this stuff, and maybe I don't know. I don't know what time it is. It's been an hour, I think, maybe 30 minutes or something like that. I might be back. I'm not sure. But that rain thing really bugs me, and I get really like tired and sluggish. Throat starts to hurt, but it'll go away kind of quick too, though. I'm not really into that. Obviously, not to say that anybody's like, yeah, let me go outside and open my mouth for the rain, but I think it'll affect certain ones more than other ones, and not worth being like scared over, but it definitely is an inconvenience. No one wants to be all like seemingly tortured and whatnot. Anyway, I may be back. This may just be a defrag, to be honest. I don't think I really hit a topic for real. Okay, I love you, bye.